today's lesson, we're going to talk about plane curve and parametric equations. Let f and g be the functions of t over an interval I. Then the set of points defined by x and y, which is equals to ft and gt, is called a plane curve. And the equations look like that, are called parametric equations of the curve. And t is called a parametric. With that information, let's see if we can sketch the plane curve defined by the parametric equations over the given interval a. This is the given interval. It's a x is equals to t squared minus 2t and y is equals to t minus 2 over the interval of where t is between -2 and 3 and include -2. So the first thing we wanted to do in parametric equations graphing, I wanted to mark, let's say this is a, I wanted to mark t by the interval with two different equations. Right? The first one is x equals to t squared minus 2t was the given. Second one is y equals to t minus 2. So that's going to be the points it's given. And t, it starts from -2 to all the way to 3. So it'll be -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And don't forget, -2 is included. So you're going to use the dark circle. And 3 is not included, so it will be open circle. And let's see what's the value you get when you replace t equals to -2. When you replace t equals to -2, that will be 4, right? -2 squared is 4 minus 2 times -2, that will be plus 4, so you get 8. When you replace -2 here, it will be -4. When you replace 1 on the first equations, -1 squared is 1 minus 2 times 1 is plus 2, so it will be 3. So when you replace 0, you get 0. When you replace 1 on x equations, you get -1. When you replace 2 will be 0, 3 will be 3. -1 on y equations, you get -3, 0 will be -2. 1 will be -1, 2 is 0, and 1 is 1. In order to graph this, this is going to be your x value, and this is going to be your y value, and this is going to be 1-point coordinations, right? This is the second coordinations, all that. So when you mark that on the graph, it starts from 8 and -4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first point is here. That's going to be the one it start with dark circle include. And then the second point is when x is 3, y will be -3. x0, y will be -2. And -1 and -1. 0, 0, 3, and 1. So when you draw the line, smooth curved line going through those points is going to be look like this. And don't forget the last point should be open circle, right? So going this direction to that point. If we try one more time with B, you have two equations again. Your t value between 4 and negative 4. So you're going to write t with x equals the absolute of t minus 2 and y is t over 2. You're starting from negative 4, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and 4. I mean, if you want to, you can put more points between, but, I'm not going to write all the numbers. And it said negative 4 is not included, positive 4 is, right? So let's just find these few points. So when you replace t by negative 4 is 4 minus 2, 1 minus 2, so it will be negative 1, 0 minus 2, 1 minus 2, 2 minus 2, 4 minus 2. Negative 4 over 2, negative 1 over 2, 0 over 2, 1 over 2, 2 over 2, and 4 over 2. So again, this is going to be your points, coordinations, right? X value and Y value. And that's what you're going to look for on your graph. Let's start from when 2 and 2, right? Because that's the dark point. Or let's do from open circle also, which is the smallest number, which is negative 4. That's going to be 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So this is the open circle one. And then you have 1 and negative 1 and negative 1/2. And you have negative 2 and 0. And then you have negative 1 and 1/2. And then 0 and 1. And 2 and 2. 2 and 2, this is the closed circle one. And this goes this directions. Right? And that's the graph for that given parametric equations. When we're looking at the example 2, it's a find the rectangular equations. So when it's a find the rectangular equation means that write the equations of the graph without the t values. And usually the way that you're going to write the equation with t value is going to be take one of the equations and solve for t. Then substitute that into the other ones. So let's try that. If we have x equals to 3t, which is the first one. I'm going to solve for t. Then I get t equals to x over 3. We're going to replace that into the second one, this one. So since t is equals to x over 3, y equals to t squared, we can replace that. Y is equals to x over 3 squared, which is x squared over 9 is y equals to, right? So that's going to be rectangular equations. Let's try one more with b. So we have x equals to square root of t. And when we solve for t, you square both sides. So that's what you get. You're going to replace that into y equals to 1/2 t plus 1. So let's replace that there, where you get y equals to 1/2 x squared plus 1. That's going to be rectangular equations for the problem B. So now example 3, we're going to do example 1 and 2 combined. It's a graph the following equations and find the rectangular equations. The first one, so when we're graphing it, remember we wanted to plug in into two different equations to find the x and y value. Your x value come from e to the t. Your y value come from e to the negative t. And your t value start from 0, 1, 2, where 0 is included and 2 is also included. When t is equals to 0, any number to the 0 exponent, that's equals to 1. So e to the 0 exponent is equals to 1. E to the first exponent is equals to 2.72 around. E squared will be about 7.4 if you plug into the calculator. And when you do e to the negative 0 exponents, that's still 1. 0 do not have negative. It will be the same as just a positive 0 or just 0, right? E to the negative first exponent is 0.37. E to the negative square is about 0.1353. So using that, you should be able to graph when it's 0, you have 1 and 1. And 2.72 and 0.037. And 7.4, that's 0.137, right? So something like that, and draw the line, a smooth curved line. And this is going to be somewhere close to 2.72. This is going to be 7.4, right? And this is 1. And then if you wanted to find the rectangular equation, solve for t. And since t is in the exponents, you're going to multiply both sides by natural logarithm to bring t down. Natural logarithm of e is equals to 1. So this one, t is equals to ln x. And we're going to replace that into y equals to e to the negative t. So we will say y is equals to e to the, you're going to replace that there, so it will be negative ln x. And that's going to be rectangular equations in that graph. Now, if we wanted to solve for second one, start from the 0 to 2 pi. So start from 0 to 2 pi, and we're using pi over 2 pi, 3 pi over 2. And when we're replacing that into t, we get 4 times cosine 0 is 1, which give you 4. Cosine pi over 2 is 0, which is 0. Cosine pi, you get negative 1, so that gives you negative 4. Cosine 3 pi over 2 is 0, that's 0. 2 pi is going to be the same, which is 4. When you replace 0 to the sign this time, 2 times sine 0 is 0. 2 times pi over 2 is 1. 2 times pi is 0. And 2 times 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. So that gives you negative 2. 2 times 0 is again 0. And when you wanted to plug in those points on the graph, look like you're going to get ellipse, right? So you're going to have negative 2, positive 2, and 4, and negative 4. And that's the graph you're going to get. And you wanted to find the rectangular equations. Because this is horizontal ellipse, right? You know your A value is going to be 4, B value is going to be 2, and your center on the graph is 0. So we know that ellipse will have x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals to 1. You just need to replace this a and b. Right? So when you replace this a squared with b squared with 4 squared with 2 squared, right? Gives you 16 and 4. So it will be 1 with the 16, 1 with the 4. And that will be the equations. So once you have a graph, and that's going to be either ellipse, hyperbola, or circle, you have a standard form of the equations, and you can just plug in that. If we do one more, this time we're doing it with the C. So your T is going to be x equals to 3 cosine t, and y equals to 3 sine t. Starting 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. 2 pi is same as 0, so maybe you don't really need to write that. And when t is 0, it's 3 times 1, because cosine 0, right, is 1. And cosine 90 degree, which is pi over 2, that's going to be 0. Cosine pi is negative 1. Cosine 3 pi over 2 is 0. 3 times sine 0. 3 times sine pi over 2 is 1. 3 times sine pi is 0. And 3 times sine 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. And when you graph this, this is going to be circle. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It will be circle. So the standard shape of circle with the center 0. And radius is 3. That gives you x squared plus y squared equals to 3 squared, which is 9. So that's going to be rectangular equations for that circle. So hopefully this last example showed you what you need to do in order to graph and find the rectangular equations.